What is going on, guys? PixCam20 back in with a brand new video. We are here for our Nations Cup at Dragon Trail Seaside, not the normal edition, the backward edition, as we are ranked 5th place in our lobby here, as we are in our Audi TT Cup, and other cars decided to go with the Audi TT, but also I saw some other people using the Ferrari, an Aston Martin, I believe a Viper as well, and also the Peugeot. So a majority picked the front wheel drives like the Audi and the Peugeot, but some other cars that they picked, I think they picked because of the strategy that was implemented for this race. So we decided to go with the TT Cup. I felt very comfortable with this car. The only thing is that this car was gonna sacrifice handling for straight line speed compared to the Peugeot. So that's one thing we had to be aware about whenever we got to the long straights, such as the beginning main straight and also after the awkward left-hander corner. So we had good handling compared to everybody else, but again, the Peugeot was just probably going to beat us out on the straightaway. So we're going to see what we can do here, try to get as much as we can off of our tires, as we are going to start on the mediums and see if we can outpace everybody and get hopefully a win here at Dragon Trails. So before we jump into qualifying, if you guys really enjoy the content, we're trying to reach a goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. Now, as we jump into qualifying, it was going to be very important to get a good position on this qualifier, but we did not want to get a pole position, as the strategy here entails you to save some fuel. So we did not want to be in the pole position, but at least be in the front as we come to our first flyer lap. Coming to our first flyer lap, we hit the wall in the chicane of death, and immediately we are out for that first flyer lap. But we go for our second flyer lap and see if we can try to improve on our time, and we get a 146.5, very fast lap time, a competitive lap time, as we were able to get third place. But going to the end of qualifying, we are currently in third place, as we're just waiting for everybody else to finish up here. As we are now waiting for the results, we are able to confirm that we are going to start in third place for our race as we jump into the intro. So coming to the intro, the strategy for this race was going to be basically a one stop. You could try to do a two stop, but we were given the mediums and the hard compounds, and the hard compounds were required in order to not get a penalty for this race. So the fuel consumption was kind of strong, but not too strong. You can make it with without having to refuel the car, but you just had to save some fuel. So that's why we wanted to start in at least second or third, but at least in the front, so we could avoid the traffic. But if we start second, third, we can just stay in the slipstream and save some fuel and switch off from the mediums to the hards around lap 7 or lap 8 on this race. Coming to the race, we get our 3, 2, 1, and we are a go, as we are now on the long straightaway here at Dragon Trails. Starting in third place, we're right behind the Peugeot and the Audi TT ahead of us as we come into turn number 2. Coming to turn number 2, we brake very late to try to hold our position here. As you can see, the Audi and the Peugeot are starting to build a little gap compared to us, as we're getting pressure from behind on this short little straightaway. Coming to the straightaway here right before the chicane of death, it's going to be very crucial to get through it cleanly without making any mistakes, as if we do make mistakes, we're going to lose a ton of positions. As we slow down very early coming to the beginning of the chicane death, we're able to get through it cleanly, and so do the cars ahead of us. So all of us make it through it cleanly as we head into the awkward left-hander. So jump into awkward left-hander, catching up a little bit to the Audi TT ahead of us. The Peugeot, you can see, gets a lot of understeer going into the left-hander, but he's going to pull away from us on the straightaway. So again, we're just hoping that we can use the handling to our benefit, and hopefully we can catch up to the Peugeot and pass him before the straightaway. So coming to the second corner, we actually get overtaken by the Peugeot, and that's going to allow the other Peugeot to get ahead of us in the Star Wars livery. Pretty cool livery, I'd have to say so myself. But you can see we get demoted now into 5th place here, as we were in 3rd place, but not worrying too much, as we just have to stay as close as we can to the leader here as we come into chicane of death. Coming to chicane of death, yes, see, there's a car that gets hit into the wall, and he is gone, as he gets a big RIP there, as we are now promoted into 4th place. Let's see what happened right here. Just got too early. I mean, on the replay, it looked like he didn't even hit it. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but he hit the wall, and he got demoted all the way down into 8th or 9th place, as we are now focusing our sights on the top 3 here as they're going side by side. We make a little bit of contact with the Star Wars car, as he is now propelled forward, and you can see he gets an excellent run coming out of that corner, since we helped him out with that little bump there. And they're going 3 wide here as they're coming down the straightaway, leading us into the S's. Coming to the S's here, they're still going 3 wide, as one of them's gonna have to back out, because going 2 cars is difficult. Imagine going 3 wide into this corners is not gonna be a good time is basically impossible now, as they get us straightened up now, and we are able to catch up to them as they got, able to get single file here, and we're gonna follow them on the slipstream, as that's gonna be our plan here for the race. It's just following the slipstream, short shifting, and try to save as much fuel as we can so that we don't run out of fuel, and also we don't have to worry about filling up the tank when we come in for our one pit stop. So coming to lap number 3 here, we go into the chicane of death, and you can see how much time we gain on the top 3 ahead of us right there, as they all went into it kind of incorrectly, but we were able to catch up to the Peugeot ahead of us, as we are now getting pressure from behind as well. So it's a 5-way battle for first place, as we are coming out of this awkward left-hander, staying right behind the Peugeot here as we are coming down this short straightaway that leads us into the S's. We're gonna see if we can try to stay right behind them and just follow the in line and not push the issue here, as we're gonna try to just stay in line, save some gas, and hopefully again save enough for the end of the race. So coming to turn number 2, you see they're making a little bit of contact ahead of us, the 2 Peugeots, as the silver one tries to make a cutback here. He's going onto the inside of the Star Wars car there, and now they're going side by side as they come down to the straightaway, leading us into the chicane of death here, following right behind the Star Wars slipstream. One of them's going to have to give up here, as going side by side into the chicane of death never ends well, as they go side by side, make a little bit of contact. The Star Wars one goes onto the outside. He makes a little bit of contact with the car behind, and he is actually propelled back to the forwards. We were going to try to make a move onto the inside, and we lose that chance of trying to overtake him going into this corner now, as we were trying to make a move onto the inside here. We're still right behind him on his back bumper, but we got to get around him soon, because you can see that first place is now just running away with it, as second place is now starting to build a gap compared to us and the Star Wars car, as we're trying to just stay right behind the Peugeot right ahead of us and just follow him as we head into the S's. Coming to the S's here, we're staying right behind him as he gets a little bit loose, as we both hit the rumble strip incorrectly, and we're catching up to him, but we are now getting pressure from behind as we come out of this right-hander. He gets very, very understeery, goes into the grass as we're trying to make a move onto the inside. Are we going to be able to make a move onto the inside as we head to this left-hander? Brake as late as we can, and we're able to gain third position, as we are now back in the podium and focusing our sights on second now, as we have to get away from this Peugeot behind us to see if we can try to get away from him on the straightaway, as he should get better straight line speed than us, but he backs out of there as we come into the final chicane that's going to lead us into the main straight. So very, very dramatic opportunity that we were able to overtake on him, but we are able to do so now as we set our sights on the top 2 cars now, going into this awkward left-hander here on lap number 8. So coming to this awkward left-hander here, leading us into the straightaway, we're falling right behind the silver Peugeot, and we're just staying right behind him here, as we're just still saving fuel, as we had to use a little bit of it to try to get around the Star Wars Peugeot, and also try to catch up to these guys here so that we can get back into the slipstream and save some more fuel. But you can see right here that they're just getting away from us, but coming out of this corner, this is where we were strong at, especially because of our downforce and the understeer that they would get it coming into that right-hander. So that's where it allowed me to just stay with them and allowed me to stay in the slipstream as we come into this slow left-hander leading us into a short straight. Now jumping up into lap number 10, we're on the straightaway before the death chicane. As we come into the chicane of death, you can see that they get very, very slow. As you can see, their tires are just gone, as we still have a lot of tire grip left on our fronts, as we're trying to make a move onto the inside of the silver Peugeot, trying to brake as late as we can as we head into the awkward left-hander. We go all the way to the inside. As you can see, we're able to make the overtake there, but he's going to try to get a cutback on us, as we are now going down to a straightaway. Coming to the straightaway here, he's able to make the cutback there, and we are now demoted back into third place as we're following him here on into the S's. So coming to the S's again, staying right behind second and first. We're starting to pull away from fourth place, so it's going to be a 3-way battle for first place here. As you can see that we're just staying right behind them and just trying to save as much fuel as we can and not push any issues. We don't want to make any contact with them and cause like an incident as we head into this left-hander. So jumping into this left-hander here, we get very, very close to the Peugeot right ahead of us, as we almost make contact with his back bumper. And again, I'm just trying to take this very, very carefully. I don't want to make any contact with them and I just want to avoid making any type of contact to not get any penalties or worse, like us getting into any trouble where we spin out and we lose the position to try to win this race as we come down to the straightaway. So jumping into the straightaway, we're following them again as they're going to pull away from us because of the speed, but hopefully the slipstream can keep them with us. And you can see that they're moving into the inside onto the pits, but they make a dummy right there as the car in the first place goes into the inside, pretends like he was going to go to pits, but he actually backs out of the move there, and we're just waiting for one of them to come in so we could jump on it and go right in pits with them so we can stay in the slipstream now as we come out of this left-hander. So coming out of the left-hander, they're going side by side now as they're fighting with each other and just slowing us down as we're heading down to the straightaway leading us into chicane of death. One of them backs out of there, which is a smart move because, again, you don't want to go side by side into chicane of death. And we are now still in third place as we're just following them here coming out of the chicane of death. But look how much ground we were able to gain on them on the chicane as we are just still have so much grip compared to them. But it's starting to run out real thin as we get a little bit of understeer coming out of the final corner onto the straightaway. So staying right behind them on the straightaway here, you can see that they're still getting pretty close to each other as I thought one of them was going to try to pull out and try to make a move onto the S's, but luckily they were smart enough to stay single file as we come into the S's and avoid losing any more time as we come out of the final part of the S's. So jumping to the left-hander here, again, we're just getting close on the corners, but they just pull away from us on the straightaways. As you can see now, the silver Peugeot is trying to make a move onto the inside of the leader. The leader gives them the space there as they're going side by side again, and we're just trying to figure out which line to take as we're going to have to come into chicane. Coming to the chicane, the silver Peugeot is able to outbrake the Peugeot on the right-hand side, and the blue Peugeot actually backs out there. As you can see, we ram into the back of him as he slowed down a lot, but fourth place is now on our back bumper here, so it's going to be very, very close as we come into the pits this time here. So following the blue Peugeot right ahead of us, he comes into the pits. We follow him here as we try to mimic whoever was going to come into the pits ahead of us to stay in the slipstream. But coming out of the pits, we actually come out ahead of the blue Peugeot, but we come out in third place right behind the second place car. And if you guys don't remember, that second place car was the one that actually crashed on lap number 2 or 3 and ran into the chicane of death. So he was able to regain all the way back to second place right ahead of us as we are now jumping into lap number 13. So coming to lap number 13, we're moving into second place here as the car ahead of us had to go into the pits, and you can see right ahead of us we still have that one car that crashed out ahead of us, and it's leading right now. So it's really, really interesting to see how he got ahead of us because, again, he was miles behind us after that crash, and my assumption was that he was still had to come into the pits and switch off either from the mediums to the hards, or if he just chucked on another set of mediums, did not put any fuel and just was pushing, but was going to have to put in some fuel later on in the race. But we were just trying to figure out exactly what his strategy is as we come into the chicane of death, and just trying to see what we can do to try to catch up to him and hopefully overtake him in case if he does have to come into pits, as this would be the lap to do so if he does come into the pits. So coming out of this awkward left-hander, we're starting to get pressure from behind here, so we are focusing on the front, but we also have to focus on our back here as we're coming to this short little straightaway leading into the S's. It's actually the silver Peugeot right behind us as we're coming to the S's for the second to last time. As we come in here, we get a really good run coming into the S's. As it was my weak point during qualifying, but during the race has been kind of my strong points, especially with a lot of these understeered from the Peugeots. But we're able to hold off our spot here as we come into the short straightaway, but when we get into the long straightaway, that's where I'm going to have to defend as much as I can, especially because of how much top end speed that Peugeot has right behind us as we come into the chicane for our 14th time. So coming here onto the chicane here, we are able to hold off our position, but the Peugeot gets a really good exit here as we are running low on fuel. As you can see, we only have 1 lap of fuel left, and we're now going side by side on the straightaway here as we're trying to keep it onto the outside that's going to be in the inside coming up of the Peugeot, but he is able to just easily overtake us as he just has too much top end speed compared to us. And you can see how simple it was for him to overtake us. Let's make a little bit of contact with him going into turn number 2. So making a little bit of contact with him, we're trying to make a move onto the inside, and we allow him to get ahead of us as we just thought to ourselves, okay, let's just save some fuel here and try to make a last minute push when we come to our better section of the track, which was the S's, and see if we can try to make an overtake on there when we get off of that corner. So coming to the chicane of death, we get very, very close to him as he makes contact with the wall. We make contact with him. That slows us down as we're now getting pressure by 4th place. He makes contact with the wall again, so we're going to try to make a move onto the inside as he makes a very, very late lunge. 4th place does, and he actually ends up going into the wall. So now a 2-car race for 2nd place. As you can see, the leader did not come into the pits, so he is basically ready to win this race as he did not have to come into the pits anymore. Not sure exactly what his strategy was, but look at how far he was able to get away from us as we are now starting to stay right behind the silver Peugeot. Coming into this S section where we've been really, really good throughout the race, are we going to be able to get any type on the Silver Persia ahead of us as we're trying to get close and close, but we run a little bit wide, get onto the grass, stay right behind the Silver Persia as we come into this left-hander, break as late as we can, and we're able to do so here as we're just trying to make a move onto the inside, but he covers us, and we actually lose a little bit of time coming out of that corner as we had to slam on the brakes even stronger than before to avoid making contact with him. Now as we come into our final chicane here for the final time, can we make anything happen here as we're trying to just push the car as much as we can, shift it all the way to the right. We get a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, and look at how much the Persia was able to outpace us. Now as we're coming down to the straightaway, we're staying right behind him on the slipstream. As you can see, 4th place is still catching up to us, so we have to short shift here and stay right behind the slipstream to hopefully save enough gas to make it. And we run out right at the line, but we were able to hold off our podium, and we finished this race in 3rd place in our Audi TT. As 1st place, not sure exactly what he did, but he was able to outsmart all of us, go from crashing, and then eventually end up winning this race. So not too shabby. We started in 3rd place, we ended in 3rd place, so we didn't gain any position, but we didn't lose any position. So I was really proud of us to get a 3rd place position, but I wish we could have gone 2nd or not a win, as we were shaping up to do so there. So hope you guys found this video very entertaining. If you guys did, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the videos. It really helps that channel when you guys do so, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.